Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. I love it. Cool. Turtle tank. I love it. Turtle. Oh yeah. Cool. I love it. Goldfish tank. Go. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. Cool. Alright. I love it. Oh yeah. Alright. Cool. Oh yeah. I love it. Me. Say something. Oh yeah.
Hello world, how's it going? So I'm here at Aquarium Co-op's fish room in the, what would you call this area?
I officially call it Studio 1.
Oh,
Because we used to do a lot of filming in here for the Real Fish Talk and other stuff, and it's still the studio, but I think it's going back towards the fish room, honestly. I think I'm going to set up more tanks. But for now, it's Studio 1. I've got a little Studio 2 ready to live streams now. And yeah, now it's kind of just the fish room, I guess. I don't know. We still call it the studio. The whole building's a studio now.
So I did hear maybe some more fish tanks to come?
Yeah, I'm jonesing. I'm not going to lie. I do want. I've bought some tanks. I've got a little bit of equipment. I haven't started setting up anything yet. And so I haven't decided what direction to go, but I do know there's a lot more things I need to test, and I don't have enough tanks to test, so there's that problem. And then I'm addicted to buying fish, and I haven't been buying fish in a long time. I don't even buy it from my own store. Someone else does that now. So I don't even shop fish. So I want to.
That's exciting.
And you gotta put them somewhere when you buy them. So
yeah, you do.
I could just buy rare fish and then sell them at the store, but that's not very fun.
I know how that addiction goes too.
Yeah.
It's never ending sometimes. All right, well, that's exciting. And yeah, let's do a little tour of this.
All right. So here we got what I call the best guppies in the world, and that's because the females are so insane. This is all fry I bought from Twin Cities Guppies. And I've got some O-nip tabs in here, and they're just eating all the little bits that slough off. Bigger fish really jam on that. We got some red cherry shrimp, and I'm just a guppy guy or a library guy in general, so I love to see babies happening. And these fry are just coming up to the age now where they're going to start spitting out babies, and I'll enjoy that. I don't always feed O-nip tabs. I just like to bring the fish to the front so that it's easy for people to film. You know, it makes the tank look a little cloudy and everything, but you know, that's how that goes. And then I've got little guy here, which is a goldfish we accidentally bred.
Oh, cool.
And they've bred a few times. You'll see the goldfish a little bit later in the video, but it's from the parents that I'll show you. And he's just raising up with these guppies, and as he gets big enough, he'll move to somewhere where he won't get snacked on. But he went in here a lot smaller, and I thought, well, the guppies will make it safe for him. And I had to open up the tank for these guys because they were spawning. We brought them in these blue angels, and they keep spawning, but I don't have any tanks. One of the problems, I have no tanks to move the fry to, or the eggs. So I bought some stands and stuff, and I got us up to 10 gallons to raise the fry, but they continually keep laying back on the Zis filter. They also lay on the overflow. Like anything vertical, as we know, goldfish will lay on it. And so, or not goldfish, but angelfish will lay on it. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things. And this tank wasn't meant to do this. This is meant to be actually a planted African cichlid tank with CO2 injection, auto-dosing fertilizers. Like I've got the CO2 tank sitting here waiting and ready. You know, we're ready to do that, but I really fell in love with these guys at the store, brought them home. Again, need more tanks. Like this was gonna be a different tank. And yeah, I could set up the CO2 and do all that, but I'm like, I'd really just need to do it all at once. I need to move these guys. We're in that whole big zone of like, oh yeah, move this and this and this and this, and then that's free. That's a zone I'm at right now, and it's kind of a not my favorite zone to be in because I feel like everything's not done. Like it's just a state of everything's half done. So yeah, down below I've got some red koi tuxedo guppies that I love quite a bit. These guys have been cranking out some fry. This is just a big 75 planted tank. I want it, you know, honestly, if I'm being 100% truthful, which is going to sound weird because you're here, this tank is to like mimic your tank that was like a 40 breeder with crypt heuteroi and then like 4 billion endlers.
Yeah.
Like I just love that look.
That's
and so
awesome.
I was like, okay, let me plant it up with a ton of crypts and start the guppy train going in here. And it takes a while to breed that many crypts, that many guppies and that kind of stuff, but
it really does.
you know, so I'm probably a year out at least from having that, you know, the Lucas Brett look. Oh, the auto feeder's kicked on. Yeah. So that's the auto feeder that, you know, I run. So everything's auto water change here. I've got an auto feeder going. We auto water change 4 times a day. Hang on back filtration. It auto flows through. Like everything in here is automated. And I prefer it that way because we travel. Well, last year I traveled a ton going to Peru and Germany and China and all these places to look at fish. And I need to make sure that these guys aren't just going to like die from it, right? So, you know, normally I wouldn't have had this food in there and then that food drops in a minute later, but hey, we're filming it, it's early in the morning and that's how it's gonna go. So
I love how these bronzes are actually bullated.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so in here there's no fertilizers. All we do is the easy root tabs currently. Like I don't have an auto doser, which when I hook up an auto doser I'll probably auto dose, but this is just a little bit of fluorite and aragonite. And then the clamshells are from puffers I had in there, so that buffers the pH and the hardness a little bit more. And I want to teach this tank, you know, you teach it on your channel all the time, but this is like as easy as it gets. Put plants, we'll make more, don't even really fertilize besides a little bit of substrate fertilization, you know, pretty easy. And we built this all in when we built the new studio to record, so it's all the wood's built in. And I thought I wanted it to look like this, and it still looks amazing, but I think now, knowing that I'm a guy that always wants a billion fish tanks, now I know this will never be enough. Like, and I don't know that I want to build like the rest of the building this way. Like, I just want a ton more fish tanks. And if I ever move, like, no one else is going to want to own this. Like, what are the odds I would sell to a fish nerd? Highly unlikely. So I'm like, well, I still love it though. I do love it for filming. You know, but you got to go around, like right here, we were feeding a little bit earlier. I didn't close the hood all the way, you know, so you get the light bleed and all that. Here's like kind of this is an eBay impulse buy basically. Like I wanted to buy fish. These are blue platies. The problem is they're not you know, some got orange in there. Like I really need to cull and figure out what I'm doing, but it's just been on stasis mode. Like, yeah, there's some plants in there, no fertilizer, nothing's happening. We'll bring some algae filled plants home and let the platies like clean them up, or sometimes they die. But you know, they just stasis tank for sure. This is another stasis tank of these guppies I brought back from the World Championships in Vienna. I brought them back in the United States. Pretty difficult story. They ended up costing me for 2 trios about $500.
Wow.
And but I love it because they're short tail. You know, kind of like the endlers, the tiger endlers and stuff we see. They're just really cool. I saw them at the show. We're able to go through a person, went through a person to get the breeder. They then shipped them to us in Germany, and then I took them on the plane from Germany to here. Then they got confiscated because I didn't have a permit. So Fish and Wildlife held them overnight. Then I had to pay to overnight them with FedEx, and they were nice enough to put them in the mail for me because they were like, oh yeah, they are just guppies. And so they got here, but the checked bag for the fish was like 100 euros. The fish themselves cost like 150 euros. And then it was like another $100 or $112 to FedEx overnight it to me. And I didn't know if they were going to make it, but they did. And I've got a lot of black rose shrimp in here. And a lot of planaria too. You can see we're overfeeding this tank to make babies and stuff, and a lot of people freak out about planaria. So I know that my colony of shrimp push forward by a ton, and my guppies are pushing forward by a ton. I'm making babies. You can see the babies swimming around in here. So my logic is I can make a ton of babies and some planaria, or I can make a few babies and no planaria. And I don't believe planaria to be detrimental enough to be a problem. So I'm not going to go in here and use any med to get rid of it. If I wanted to get rid of it, I hold food back, and as these guppies get bigger, they'll just eat them.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
so
a food source.
Yeah, I just let it nature kind of do its thing.
That.
You know, and they exist in nature, and you know, some people say, well, they're eating food. Like if you look at the shrimp here, they're literally right on top of those planaria. If they were scared of them, they'd be like, oh man, I should not be near this planaria.
Exactly.
So I don't view them as detrimental, even though the entire internet is convinced they're the #1 killer in the world.
I'm sure too, if shrimp got hungry enough, they would eat them too.
I've legit seen in my store shrimp eating live blackworms, and live blackworms are much bigger.
Yeah.
Much bigger.
I've seen it too.
So I think because we feed so much in here, they don't have a need to get predatory and have to eat those. But, you know, they could.
Yep.
So that's my own view. This is a mishmash of plants and that kind of stuff, and you know, it's all the tanks. I don't know if I have a single tank in here for me personally that's done. And I know it's been like a story like that for a year, but you know, there's always something going on. Someone's coming to town, I'm leaving town, there's another event to go to. I need like 6-month break where I just don't do anything, but the problem is YouTube would suffer, I wouldn't get any new products in, I wouldn't be testing new products, so it's like a lot to give up, even though that's what I want to do. You know, it would kind of be like, all right, guys, I'll see you in 6 months. When I'm back, everything will look amazing, but then no one will ever see me on YouTube or anything. And I don't know if people are willing to give that up. I mean, some people are, I'm sure. They're like, I don't even like that guy. But, you know, like these guys here, I know I need to get brine shrimp up and breeding. I've got albumarginata. So they're wild-caught bettas that are mouthbrooders. There's another one hiding way up here in the darkness, and I run 2 males and a female because the males are the ones that hold the eggs. Real easy mouth brooder. The problem is the babies kind of need live baby brine, and I don't hatch live baby brine. I used to hatch it every single day when the fish room was up and going and I had lots of breeding tanks. Now since we don't do that, and so when they spit the fry, they don't quite get enough food and we're not really getting any babies. The minute I start hatching out brine, boom, it'll go. So they're kind of just hanging out. This is kind of a Blackwater tank. I did a video on it and haven't really done much with it since. You know, I got to get motivated to be like, yeah, here's what we're gonna do, yeah. So yeah, awesome. Over here we've got Jimmy's tank. So Schwisky on YouTube, you can find it through most of our channels and that kind of stuff. He's the editor of Aquarium Co-op. He does a lot of photography and that kind of stuff. He's got his own website and Instagram and all those things. And so he gets his own 125 in here. He featured rainbows, and you know, it's all stuff that uses products we sell. But you know, if you're a fish person, you need a fish outlet. You can't just be like, oh, I do fish all day long, I don't keep any tanks. So like, that doesn't really work. You have to go, you'll see stuff like, ooh, I want to bring that home. Ooh, I want to play with that. And if you don't let that happen, it stifles creativity and that kind of stuff. So we've got, you know, rare corridoras in here. There's rare plecos. You know, there's just like zebra danios. Why? Because he'd never kept zebra danios before. And that's that whole, I really encourage experimenting. So even though we have a Zis filter, a hang-on back filter, a sponge filter, an internal filter, another internal filter, Jimmy likes to play with different filtration. Just, I think he hasn't had all of these things before, and so he's kind of nerding out on them. Where, like in the building, as you've seen, I probably have 200 filters because I'm doing a big project where I'm like mapping out all the filters, the best way to do it and all that. So there's no shortage. Any day you could walk and be like, I'm gonna play with this thing, you know, because there's just stuff everywhere. So that's what this tank does. Jimmy does what he wants. He'll film, he'll do creative stuff with it, and he looks to be having a blast. So down low, this is a mishmash turtle tank first. So the tank was built knowing that turtles were gonna go here. It's got the UVB, it's got basking spots, all that kind of stuff. We've got wood. And then I put in a bunch of live bears for snacks. So these turtles can eat those live bears if they want. They don't eat them very well because there's lots of babies. We've got Endler live bear, we have swordtails. That was another eBay purchase. I bought those as fireball platies, kind of a teacup platy that's kind of like a balloon molly, except they came in as, well, I said, these are too long to be that. And so I put them straight into here instead of putting them somewhere else, and it turns out I was right. And I ended up getting half my money back from the seller, and I'm like, this is not even the same fish, you know. But yeah, so we've got a bunch of swordtails in there. We also have Heterandra formosa, which is the dwarf live bear from Florida. It's one of the natives, which is kind of cool. And we just feed them a lot of calcium sticks, and we also feed them, you know, so even though they're eating live fish, we feed them freeze-dried fish too. You know, that's all just freeze-dried fish for them.
Oh, it looks like real freeze-dried fish.
And they get, it's got all the bones and stuff in it, so it gets them their calcium for shell growth and all that kind of stuff. So
food?
It is a Sari food, Raffi Royal. It's kind of expensive, but you know, these guys, so I guess what I haven't explained is the biggest turtles you see in here are 8 years old. They're absolutely full grown. And then the babies are offspring. I've bred all of these. So I've kind of got this big menagerie of turtles going that's illegal to sell because none of them get to 4 inches. So I'm kind of just preserving this mini musk collection point. People just go, it's a mini musk turtle. The answer to that is yes, but it's a specific collection point. You know, just like African cichlids, where there's a huge difference depending where they've been collected from. So, you know, these guys never get nearly as big as a normal musk turtle. So that's what makes them cool. And because I bred them and there's something a little bit different for fish and they live with fish, I love that. And I love building a little ecosystem of you have babies, you eat the babies, you make babies, you know.
You got dojo loach in here.
Yeah, there's a big dojo in there that, you know, I need to build some better hides for him. I think some bigger like tubes so he can get to and the turtles can't. Because he's got a bite on his tail that I'm not happy about, but, you know. Or I got to up the auto feeder and feed a little bit more and that type of stuff. They're fun to feed if I throw in like some of the floating pellets here. Let's see if I have any. Yeah, right here. They just kind of surf around up top like, I got to get food. Like they do this little funny, I think it's funny. So we'll pull this up here, we'll put some in. Even though the auto feeder will probably go in an hour for this tank. So once the turtles kind of get whiff, yeah, they just start taking down those big pellets. And the food, a lot of people freak out about food, but turtle food's great for fish food's great for turtles. Like there's a little bit of maybe not too much protein, that kind of stuff, but in general it works because turtles, as you're seeing, kind of messy eaters. They bite them in half, and then you got the little specks that the babies are going after, kind of as they slough off the big mouths. Yeah, and somehow, like, this is everyone's favorite tank when they walk in, like, baby turtles! Are you kidding me right now? Like, I should probably just feature this on the YouTube channel, like, every day. People are like, more baby turtles! Right. You know. I could have done I want to do a bigger tank, and I might, like, as they breed more, like, maybe I need a giant tank of baby turtles. Like, I could put them in the 800-gallon. Who knows?
Ooh.
Which you guys will see that. I have an 800-gallon aquarium in the studio as well in a different room. So... over here we were talking about goldfish. This is not a finished tank by any means, but these are the parents of little guy that we saw. These are some big Aranda goldfish, and I say big as in relative, you know, they're as big as your hand would be, I guess. You know, and they were never meant to spawn. I just bought them because I wanted to keep them on to set up a goldfish tank, and I've got, you know, I'm going to attach a nubius to wood and rock, and I've got a scape, and I want to get a pleco in here to kind of eat some of the algae. And, you know, a little bit of a start. Like, we've got the rocks and the wood coming over it, but I got to get super glue and glue the plants I want to be where they want to be. And, you know, that sponge they knocked off, I need to build a little grommet so it holds it on there. These are all things of like, yep, I'm going to do that someday, maybe next week. You know, I tell myself, maybe that'll be next week. It's been like 2 months now, you know, it's like, dang it. But I've got flights coming up, so, yeah. Down low, this is the overstock fish. I'm just doing this because I remembered. I moved the auto feeder, and that's going to just dump somewhere I don't want it to dump. So put the auto feeder back on. But this is a tank of stuff that was in the 800 gallons. So we've got a flagtail prochulotus, got a bunch of blood parrots. We have 2 big giraffe cats. They're going to be hiding out over here. I'll kind of have them come visit you guys. So 2 giraffe cats. One, you know, is over a foot. The other one, roughly 8 inches. A lot of excess plants. We've got a big ghost knife right there. Right in the back if I keep moving plants. That guy's going to go in the 800 gallon. Royal Plecostomus right there. There's a few other little goodies in there, like a red bristlenose and that kind of stuff. This is all backstock. I had like 300 tiger barbs. We had tons of fish in the 800 gallon. I took out most of them, and I almost want to start fresh. I know that, you know, there's some fish in there I want to keep, and then I'm on the fence with some, and you guys maybe can help me figure that out. But yeah, I guess we can go to the 800 gallon. That's all that's left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in this.
All right, so there you have it. There's Corey McElroy of Aquarium Co-op's fish room tour. His like main fish room, as you heard at the end there. Yes, there's an 800 gallon, and I will be updating you on that here real soon. That's probably going to be one of my next videos coming out of this series. I'm also going to have his water change system, plus we're going to go outside, check out his tubs and his koi ponds and stuff. And yeah, it was really awesome to go up there, and big shout out to him for having me up there and showing me around. It was super awesome, super awesome. Loved Seattle. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned because I got a lot of cool stuff coming out. So till next time, everybody, peace. Enjoy this bonus footage. If you don't know who Aquarium Co-op is, check out their YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description below.
I love it. Oh yeah. Turtle tank. I love it. Bye.